More advanced option settings, the display options. We can adjust the number of recent documents to show in the recent area Backstage. We can change the ruler units in the page layout view. We can turn off an option where Excel automatically displays all the open workbooks off the taskbar. We can turn off the formula bar from being displayed. We can turn off screen tips as they relate to functions. We can disable the graphic accelerator. We have several options when it comes to displaying comments, and we can change the default direction for text. So we're going to go back to the advanced option settings by going to, you guessed it, Alt-FT, left-clicking Advanced. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. To show this number of recent documents, currently it's 4, you can set it up to 50, has to do with the recent documents that are displayed when you go back to the recent area. There's the 4 documents I have recently opened. This option setting allows us to adjust that number anywhere from 0 to 50. Back in the advanced option settings, the ruler units. The default units are going to be, in this case, inches, but we can change it to centimeters or millimeters. And those units are displayed when we go to the page layout view. There's a ruler across the top and to the left side. The next option is selected by default, Show All Windows in the Taskbar. That simply is, I'm going to left-click OK. When I hover over the Excel icon, it'll show me a window of all the workbooks I currently have open. Book 1, Book 2, Book 3. Going back to the advanced options, if I deselect that, I'll only get the current workbook instead of all of them when I hover over the icon in the taskbar. The next one is about as straightforward as it gets. Show Formula Bar. If I deselect that and go back to the workbook, I don't see the formula bar any longer. The next option, Show Function Screen Tips, is on by default. I'm not sure why anybody would want to turn this off, but you can. And what it is you're turning off is this. When you insert a function into a cell, I'm going to press Tab, you get a screen tip below that lists all the arguments. That really provides some guidance in what the arguments are and where you are in determining which argument, because the one you're currently working on is bolded. If you turn this off, I'm going to select OK, and I go to input a function again, I don't get that tip that tells me what arguments the function needs in order for it to function. The next option, Disable Hardware Graphics Accelerator, is not checked by default, which infers or means that it's actually enabled by default. This helps with the performance of the spreadsheet when you have a lot of graphics embedded in the spreadsheet. I'm not sure why you'd want to turn this off, but you can. The next options have to do with comments, and whether when you have comments in your worksheet, whether you want to show the comments, or whether you want to show the indicators only and the comments on hover, or whether you want to show the comments and the indicators by default. If you select the first one, no comments or indicators, you can still get to your comments by going to Go To Special and selecting Comments. So even though the comments aren't visible, nor are the indicators, you can still find your comments on your worksheet. I inserted a comment to display the default, which is the indicator or the red little triangle that the arrow is pointing to off of the comment. We can choose to show the indicator only and the comment on hover. So we see the indicator, but the comment doesn't display itself by default. But when I hover over the indicator, the comment will show itself. And lastly, we can select no comment or indicator, and I won't go back to the workbook because that would be to show you something that you can't see any longer, which is to show you nothing. And the last option in this display group is either right to left or left to right. This has to do with the chosen language in the workbook and whether it is oriented like English from left to right, which is the default, or another language that is oriented from right to left. If you use a language that reads from right to left, you can change the default direction so that the text is actually displayed correctly. So those are the advanced display options. We can change the number of worksheets to display in the recent Backstage area to be anywhere from 0 to 50. We can change the units on the ruler that display in the page layout view. We can choose to show all of the windows in the taskbar, which is the default, or just show the current workbook window. We can turn off the formula bar from being displayed. It's displayed by default. We can turn off the function screen tips, which provide guidance as to the arguments that are going in to build the function. We can disable the graphics accelerator. We have three options when it comes to showing comments, and we can change the default direction of the text.